Hey, what's up ladies and gentlemen, it is I, the one and only Sonic the Hedgehog here, and I'm of course back for some more yet again for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Rayman Raving Rabbids TV Party for the Nintendo Wii. So last time we have managed to be completely done with most of these minigames on Wednesday, even though we've almost gotten ourselves a perfect run, except with the Forms of the Second present between well, let's just say on Mount, whatever that thing is, and also, open book music, kind of minigame, so either way though, it knows what it is when it comes to best runs and everything. So today, for this episode, is the fact that we are moving on to the next day, which appears to be Thursday, so potentially speaking, we pretty much at the halfway point of the game. Well, I would say almost anyway. So yeah, as it turns out that Rayman just tossed the TV out of the house and then just tossed it in the outside, and then turns out that we got ourselves another crack on the actual TV screen, so potentially speaking that we pretty much almost nearly at the halfway point basically. So either way though, okay, so we've only got 4 minigames to play with, so let's go for Dawn of the Rabbids, which I could assure to you this is more accurately a part 2 of that, specifically the zombies kind of cult film or cult movies or something. So potentially speaking, we can able to do just that. So because of that though, eventually at this point is the fact that the more we played those couple of mini games later, then the more well, it's all if we go to the next time slots, then the lesser amount of minigames we're able to come across into. Mainly due to the fact that we've pretty much played these already. So because of that though, yeah, we're just about to be hit on to the, well, Dawn of the Rabbids basically. And once again, we need to take down, the chicken rabbits and all that stuff though. I think potentially speaking, if I recall correctly, this will be the last, cult movie minigame we are about to be doing. Because apart from the fact that we can able to actually just to show off, I'm pretty sure that we're able to actually just try to guarantee we can able to play all 50 minigames throughout. But either way though, we'll definitely have to find out and during at some point later on for this point today. So yeah, that's as far as I can say about this for the most part. So anyway though, so let's just go ahead and well, oh, there's a super rabbit right there in case if we get some extra amount of points. So for the most part, still, it's not too bad if you manage to get used to with it. So, even though there might be somewhat a bit of a lesser amount of shooting, kind of gallery kind of mini-games this time around, as opposed to the ones in, well, it kind of feels like the exact same amount as the Forms of Rayman Raving Rabbids 2, basically. But, it somewhat feels a bit, somewhat of the same amount. Well, somewhat a bit lesser than the Forms of, the original game, that's for sure, just because obviously you'd be saving baby glow boxes and all that stuff in the original game. So, but I digress. Today's day is, of course, the Friday, the 9th of April today, in this case in 2021. Some interesting happened, in this case, to be more specifically, if I would like to say something correctly, yeah, some interesting news has been happening during the course of the past few days ago, specifically with all these new game announcements, more trailers, and especially notable with this exciting event, which I'm sure that Maxi hasn't mentioned about this during the course of Sonic Events 3 Let's Play yesterday. So because of that though, we're able to actually mention about that right now. First of all, let's get into the forms of the game announcements. First of all, basically, we actually got ourselves our brand new Nintendo Switch Online game, which can be more accurately some sort of like a replacement from the likes of the limited time playability when it comes to like Super Mario Bros. 35, but that game has been replaced by now is Pac-Man 99. which, as far as that title suggests, it's basically Pac-Man Battle Royale. So you're able to once again compete against with 98 other players across the globe. So even though, if you ever played Tetris 99 before, except now you're able to play as Pac-Man and all that stuff, which I think is actually pretty cool in theory. Mind you, I haven't got the game yet though, just because, well, then again though, I'll try to able to actually save up the actual memory storage on my Nintendo Switch as of now, but and also, while you're at it, is the fact that they did manage to include some DLC stuff, to be more specifically, custom, you know, themes and stuff like that, which is interesting to say the least. And I can assure you, these are based off from any other Namco franchises, I'm pretty dang sure. And yeah, it's all interesting, all things considered. Thankfully, it's for free if you manage to able to download it for free. But if you really want to go ahead and try out the other modes, and especially those with custom themes, well, you're gonna have to pay, you know, Nintendo eShop vouchers, or in this case, some, you know, some cash until you're able to actually get the remaining DLC, meaning like, you know, custom themes and some other modes in general as well. So, you probably get the idea of how this is going to turn out to be. So, either way though, yeah, let me know in the comments below for the question of the day. Are you excited when it comes to the Forms of Pac-Man 99? Or in this case, have you already experienced the game yet? Which I'm sure that most people have already done that already, just because, well, they pretty much expecting that we can able to play Pac-Man 99, as opposed to Super Mario Bros. 35, which because of the Forms of the limited run. So because of that, though, yeah, it's kind of a shame that we will miss that these old days right now, but anyway. Anyways, let's move on to the next minigame, which comes from Jam Sports, and, well, as I promised, we'll hit on to the Forms of Misfit. And basically, all you have to do in this minigame is the fact that we need to copy the actual exact pose what the actual, the wrestler is doing. Or to be more specifically, like a fitness person or somewhat. So, either way though. Okay, so it looks like Chuckle Norris is actually going to be presented with this. So, okay then. Yeah, anyway, another thing I just want to point out right away is the fact that, there's actually going to be some exciting news for the next, couple of weeks or so. Like, to be more specifically, if I'm going to have to concentrate on this point right here, to able to do, leg bend every once in a while, so yeah, it's going to be one of those very similar, mini-games as you remember from the likes of, some Wii Fit stuff. Although, mind you, though, I don't suppose that we're never going to come across into certain adverts on these minigames after all, just because, well, along the same boat as the forms of some minigames in trash TV, and, also cult movies, and, some of the cult movies anyway, and, also some of them from, Raving channel, and, I suppose that's pretty much all I can say about it. Although, another thing I just want to talk about this as well, that if you ever played the DS version of Rayman Raving Rabbids TV Party, you're only able to experience, I would say, like, 6 channels, if I recall correctly. Yeah, it's roughly about 6 channels. Because I'm pretty sure that the only, channels that you don't come across into, in regards to the forms of, which specific channels that you don't able to actually access to in the DS version of TV Party is both, I would say Jam Sports and Shake It TV. So because of that though, probably because I have no idea why they just managed to took down the other 2 channels, even though the only channels they do include in the DS version is of course Trash TV, Culture Movies, Raving Channel, and Macro TV. And of course the Groovy On, and there's also the forms of another channel called No Brainer Channel, which you get that from the start on the DS version, because unlike the console version, well, we'll get to more about it until whenever we're able to continue our progressioning for this Let's Play. So because of that though, yeah, so far so good in terms of the Forms of Misfit, as far as I'm aware. So either way though, let's move on to the next time slot, and it looks like we can only play 4 of these minigames, Pop My Rabbit, or musical-based minigames, or we can able to do the Trash TV tractor kind of racing game. So I think we might as well do that. So yeah, it's kind of a shame that we can't able to actually continuously play the exact same minigames over and over and over again. Although apart from the fact that with the different stimulations and all that stuff, like, I can assure to you that we haven't exactly played BRUSH kind of brush minigame anymore, just because I think you only come across into that just once during the course of story mode, which I'm not exactly sure why that we only have to do with that limitation, which even then, I totally get it by the forms of the actual, get all 50 minigames and the entire compilation itself, but apart from those side things though is the fact that the actual, gameplay styles with certain minigames are pretty much exactly the same aside from different stimulations. Like to be more specifically, oh jeez, what is going on with my motion controls? Ah, geez, sometimes motion controls can be a bit of a fickle at points, but either way though, it knows what it is when it comes to the earlier days or something like that. But either way though, I think that was totally my fault for able to steer it too much. So anyway, another thing is worth noting for is that yes, during the forms of yesterday, I've recently managed to watch Rio from the likes of my DVD physical version of the film. And because, obviously, since on the UK release of Rio from Blue Sky Studios films, has been recently turned into 10 years old recently, for the UK release as it is. Even though, mind you, speaking of Rio, the first Rio film specifically, finally, the first film is now going to be coming out on Disney+. So even then, now it's about time to able to not only that we're able to, like, obviously we've already got Rio 2 on Disney+, but now we got ourselves the first film also in Disney+ now. So because of that though, we've now got ourselves a full duology in terms of Rio films, basically. Even though we're still waiting by the forms of the spin-off thing until later on though, which is usually the main focus is all about Nico and Pedro, so either way though, I might be a little bit more optimistic about this, especially noticeable how the fact that, well, mind you, I do like both Blue and Joel a lot more, just because, well, I'm just a big fan of the forms of Macars and all that stuff, so I do apologize for the forms of the mispronunciation right there, but that's besides the point. So either way though, let's just go ahead and do some bit of drifting along here, and of course that, as you saw for about a few seconds ago, I somehow managed to come across into my motion control problem, but thankfully it's been fixed though, so either way though, to be expected for the most part. So anyway, so another thing I just want to talk about this as well is the fact that obviously No More Heroes 3, at least in Japan anyway, gets a brand new trailer, which not only does it usually contains, well, obviously the release date for it, which it was supposed to come out in August with no further delays or anything like that, thank goodness for that, but also, get this, is the fact that they are able to get the collector's edition for No More Heroes 3, which usually not only does it contain No More Heroes 3 game itself, but also this very, very cool poster. And to top it all off is that you're able to get yourselves not only one, but two No More Heroes games all in one particular, well, I would say game card or something. So, anyway, so without further ado, and before we get into any further explanations, basically we now move on to the next minigame, which appears to be the Garden of Whedon. And as far as this minigame suggests, it's the fact that, well, if you couldn't tell from the cinematic cutscene, as you can see, we have to basically, we really don't want to let the Rabbids were able to grow this particular interesting plant, and once the actual plant has been fully, well, come alive like that, well, the game itself will be pretty much over, so. And unfortunately though, I wasn't expecting if I was going to use the pointer in order to actually try to aim, you know, for the actual plants I can able to actually get rid of, but turns out I have to use the actual motion, like a hand motion and stuff. If you try to actually send the Whedon all the way up to the actual Rabbid, he will get stunned for a few seconds, but basically all you have to do is just basically just have to put the Whedon stuff at the most of these plants, and that's all you really have to do here. So even though not much else to say, it's just the fact that it's a pretty simple mini game, even though it can be felt a bit, well, a bit of annoying at times when you're trying to deal with motion controls like that, but aside from that, there's not much else I can say. So oh yeah, and also another thing as well is the fact that if I could assure you, is the fact that with the forms of the most exciting thing of them all though, until specifically the next 2 months, is that yes, the E3 2021 is happening. Mainly with the forms of not only with Microsoft, but also other companies as well, including Nintendo. So yes, Nintendo is finally back on E3 stuff, especially noticeable after the absence of last year, just because of the forms of you-know-what. So either way though, expecting to be hyped. However though, it's going to be online only, so because of that though, expecting to be a little bit more generous and hyped and everything else to be more specifically. Oh jeez, okay. No! Ah, so close to guess that was the high score. Oh well, at least I tried anyway, so even then no, I was off by 104 points. Oh jeez. Even though it's awfully close though, but hey, at least I'll take second place any day. So, and now we've actually unlocked the next day, which appears to be, I will classify for saying is Saturday, but of course we're not going to go there just yet though, just because obviously we still got more minigames to play through, so yeah, let's do this one. And to top it all off though is the fact that I would have guaranteed that when it comes to E3 2021 that it's going to be like digital online thing only, so rather than just being on physical like reality world, just because of, you know, it might not be the same as before since 2019 because of, you know, but I digress. But I'm still looking forward to able to see how you know, E3 is going to present it in, especially noticeable that, you know, Nintendo is going to be involved in this, just like any forms of how it does it on the past, you know, E3s ago, and stuff like that. The only exception is last year, just because, you know. And, yeah, in fact, also, let me know in the comments below for the question of the day. Are you excited? Are you excited about the forms of the E3 Nintendo 2021 event? Because I'm sure enough, I am pretty much hyped for this. Especially noticeable that after all, that I was expecting for my predictions on during at some point during the course of, well, I would say it will happen until 12th of June all the way up to the 15th of June. And what makes things a little bit different compared to the forms of how it does it on the previous E3 announcements and all that stuff. Normally it takes place in Tuesdays all the way up, well, Tuesday all the way up to Thursday, meaning like 3 days in a specific week. Like, take E3 2013 for example, that it starts the actual E3 Nintendo stuff since 2013, that it starts off in Tuesday and then it finishes until Thursday. And same applies to 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, and 2018, and of course 2019. To make matters much more different this time around is that it's going to take place and start things off during the course of Saturday this time around, and then it finishes until Tuesday. So it's a bit odd to able to actually have certain days like this as far as I'm aware, but it knows what it is. So I don't mind this at all. Especially noticeable that I can able to have some time off or able to actually like, although, mind you though, I'm still waiting by the forms of the second vaccination, so even then I'm still excited when it comes to the forms of certain announcements like so. Anyway, so let's move on to the next minigame. I would say let's do this one, Bazilla, or Bazilla, which is actually based off from Godzilla. So, in fact, recently, it's the fact that Godzilla vs. Kong did actually came out on demand recently. So, I definitely heard of the film, but I haven't exactly got to my experience yet, though. So, I might be curious to able to actually see it, even though that I haven't exactly access to HBO Max just yet, though. But either way, though, I'll try to figure out at some point or another. So, well, it looks like he's trying to take over the actual city, and he somehow eats the chili pepper, which causes the flamethrower, which, yeah, that's pretty much how you expect it. And basically, this minigame, it feels exactly the same as the forms of the Garden of Eden, except rather than just trying to get rid of those plants, instead we now need to get rid of those buildings. And occasionally, though, is the fact that most of these, vehicles, mainly with tanks for instance, were about to able to try to hurt you. So, and if you get hit by that, and especially noticeable with the remote controlled contraption, what that Rabbid is trying to do there, basically that also hurts you as well. So yeah, it's gonna have to like be fast, and much like the forms of Garden of Eden, is that obviously you do need to utilize the actual the Wii Remote motion sensor rather than just the actual using the actual cursor in order to able to aim it properly, which I kind of wish they were able to do that, but it knows what it is when it comes to minigames like this. So at least despite the fact that this game came out in 2008, which I can't even believe it's been almost I would say 13 years or something, but either way. And another thing that's worth pointing out as well is the fact that recently I managed to go back into Mario Kart Tour, and this time we now moved on to the Forms of the next tour, which appears to be, well, specifically Ninja Tour, which not only contains Commander Daisy outfit this time around, but also we got ourselves another new variation of Shy Guy, which this time around he dressed up as a ninja. Which, again, when it comes to able to actually unlocking those characters in that game, is going to be a biggest pain in the butt, just because, well, it's incredibly luck-based. Because I did manage to able to collect most of those jewels anyway, but I was expecting if I was trying to get some special variations of certain characters, and most of the time I just keep on getting myself super unlucky regardless of the forms of trying to able to obtain those characters, so yeah, that's pretty much all I can say about that. So, anyways, let's do one more minigame in terms of first day, and let's see what's in here. We got Wake Me Up. Let's do this particular big jackpot in Raving channel, just because, well, I just feel like trying to do that. So, either way, though, and yeah, there's not much else I can say, honestly, even though, also one thing I should probably point out is the fact that I already mentioned about this before already, that I've watched Rio on DVD, you know, of the Blue Sky Studios film, and while I've watched it after 10 years, it still holds up, even to this day, in my opinion, even though, it might not be perfect, but hey, at least I'm a big fan of this though, so I don't really care if, depending on what the actual opinions are, because to me though, that Rio is definitely the most, it's probably my favorite film in terms of the forms of, you know, the Blue Sky Studios films, because as far as I'm aware, that, you know, it's just I do appreciate when they actually go and do something completely different, like takes place in Brazil, and because it's all about the birds, and all that stuff though, so even then though, I'm perfectly fine with that. So, actually I just realized about something, is the fact that the actual background music you're going to be hearing in these jackpot platforming minigames every now and then, the music has actually changed. So I'm guessing it's most notably because we pretty much technically, we almost at the very end, in terms of these minigames like this, so I could expect that. So either way though, let's just go ahead and keep on moving forward here, so just in case we're able to once again obtaining more points, as you can see. So either way though, everything else will be a lot more versatile than ever. So either way though, I suppose everything else for the most part, although aside from the fact that you know about the fact that I already mentioned about the Forms of the Rio film already, but it wasn't until whenever went until specifically next Thursday, if I could expect that, basically it's the fact that the actual film will be 10 years old in America until next Thursday. So, jeez, why does time usually flies by all of a sudden? So, anyway, and this also applies by the forms of Winnie the Pooh 2011 film, despite I found that film okay. I mean, not my favorite though, just because obviously it might actually doesn't feel that much nostalgic to me though as the many adventures of Winnie the Pooh, just because I found that you know, the compilation kind of film at least enjoyable to watch in my opinion, just because it does have not only one but 3 stories into one, even though originally they're going to be bringing 4 stories into one, and that means includes a day for Eeyore, but unfortunately though that didn't happen. So oh well, it's no big deal though, just because even then though, that I haven't seen a Day for Eeyore kind of special kind of movie, like a mini short film I should say, for ages. Like, it's been donkey's years since I actually last seen it. Although technically on YouTube, it's already been available on YouTube, so I can at least manage able to double check on that. So aside from that though, it's just the fact that, well, I honestly don't mind, so, which I have no idea why I'm saying things like that, to be honest with you, because even then though, yeah, I was quite pleasantly surprised about the forms of how, you know, today's discussion is how it usually turns out to be. Especially because I already said this before already, that E3 is definitely happening, even though, much like the Forms of 2019 or something like that, once again, Sony has been going to be skipping over E3, which, is pretty obvious at that point, but either way though, they're just pretty much going to do their own thing, so I can at least say sure to that. So either way though, oh boy, this is what gets a bit tricky, because not only do you able to actually screw things up like this for instance, that you weren't able to actually lose points if you touch the laser, or if you manage to fell off, then basically you also lose points as well. So either way though, because of how the fact that this is where the actual you know, certain platforming segments of this, particularly some of these minigames like this, can get pretty difficult later on, especially noticeable you have to rely on the forms of flicking the Wii remote downwards, well, most of the time anyway, until you're able to progress, so yeah, that's as far as I can say about this for the most part right here. So anyway, let's just go ahead and continue by that point right there, and it looks like that we've almost at the end anyway, so I think we actually at the end portion right here right now. So either way though, we can able to try to deal with those little fan blades and all that stuff though, to able to carry us upwards, but of course we don't want to touch the lasers, because otherwise, you know, if you dare touch the lasers, you lose points. So of course you can able to actually obtain some of your points back if you try to be more careful with it, but either way though, it knows what it is. So anyway, so let's go ahead and just concentrate right here and just be sure if we're able to... Oh! I need to go in here because I need to get myself some extra amount of points in the process. So there we go, we got ourselves not only one little new accessory, but also another accessory due to that present gift I've managed to obtain. So I think we did that pretty okay in terms of first day, so yeah, I guess we should probably end things off at this point right here, so join me next time on Let's Play Rayman Raving Rabbids TV Party. It's the fact that we are moving on to the next day, which appears to be Friday, so yeah, we're now on the halfway point of the game, so yeah, see you guys until on Monday. Later, fellas.